Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm Bob Walters. This is Locked Up Sports. Mets make a big blockbuster trade. Brandon Nimmo gone to the Rangers. And Sayville plays on Friday, Black Friday, a Long Island championship, trying to get revenge from last year's loss, as they are perfect 11-0 and they try to put the topper in a perfect 12-0 championship season. We talk about it with Brian Heyman from Newsday. Coming up next. What's up, everybody? Bob Walters here. Locked Up Sports. Thank you for joining the show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Every little bit helps. If you're listening on the podcast end, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, leave us a review there. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss a video. Let's get right to it. Brett and I, earlier today, spoke with Brian Heyman from Newsday. He covers the local high school sports. He also covers the Mets. He's got a Hall of Fame vote, so we touch on all that. The Nimmo trade, Sayville game, Hall of Fame, everything. And here it is. It's yours right now. We'll see you on the other side, everybody. Brian Heyman from Newsday. All right, so now we'd like to welcome in Brian Heyman, Newsday reporter, covers local high school sports, covers he's a member of the Baseball Writers of America. He has a Hall of Fame vote. We got into that last time. Before we get to the Sayville and the football and everything going on this weekend, this Thanksgiving weekend, I wanted to touch on the big deal the Mets made yesterday, trading Brandon Nimmo, longtime Met Brandon Nimmo, getting back a good defensive second baseman for him. What do you think about the trade the Mets made?
Well, I had a lot of mixed feelings. I like Nimmo personally. He was great to deal with as a reporter, but I know the fans don't care about that. It's all about me, right? But he was very productive. A bat last season, and in previous seasons, he'll have his down stretches, but he can hit a home run and he can drive in some runs. I think he declined a bit defensively in the outfield. With Semien, the things that I worry about, that he's 35, but also knowing that they want to, win as soon as possible. And, David Stearns might be feeling some pressure at this point after last season's collapse to win as soon as possible. And I think he realized he had to change the mix a little bit here. And he spoke a lot about, that they got to do better defensively. And, so Semien will be an upgrade at second base defensively. He's been sliding a bit in the last couple of years offensively. He wasn't that great with the bat last year, but he'll help with run prevention, I think. And he's got 3 years left on his deal, while Nimmo had 5 years left on his deal. So I think it's just kind of a first step. They have a lot more steps that they have to take, especially to remake the pitching staff, as well. I mean, at the end of last season, they had one starter that they could count on to go out there, but so they need to bulk up that starting rotation too.
Like you said, I mean, the Mets have so many holes to fill. You have first base at this point, we have nobody. I mean, second base we have filled finally, possibly Beatty at third base. Now, how much of this trade do you think is to free up maybe a left field position? Because we have Kyle Tucker, we have Cody Bellinger, and it just seems like the Mets are really trying to make those core changes. And we could possibly have a McNeil trade. And like you said, we need a starting pitcher, maybe a Senga trade. So which way do you think they go? Do you like Bellinger? Do you like going towards Kyle Tucker? Which way do you think the Mets go with this?
Well, personally for me, I like Bellinger better than Tucker. Bellinger is very versatile. He can play every outfield position, and he can play them all well. He can play first base. He plays that well. He's, a very productive hitter. So for me, I would get in a little bit of a bidding war against the Yankees for him, and if it's the Yankees who get him back, well, that's good for them.
The Yankees going to let that happen after last year?
After Soto, you know what?
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I mean, Hal Steinbrenner doesn't want to go over 300.
Yankees are panicking about Grisham taking a qualifying offer, right? So let's not all think it's not the Yankees of old.
Right. They they don't. They're not the Dodgers. I don't see them spending $400 million on their payroll, and money's no object. So I guess it depends on how high the price goes. I mean, the Mets have talked also about maybe giving the minor league prospect Carson Bench a chance in center field. Come spring training, that's a possibility. But yeah, they need another outfielder now, and they need a, they have several things that they have to do. I think the pitching, they really need to concentrate on starting rotation and relievers, and get after that.
If these three,
Do you think that
go ahead, Brad. Go ahead.
Do you think they go after that in the trade market? Or do you think they're targeting a few free agents? Because, I mean, you have guys like Tarek Skubal, Freddie Peralta, but you're talking about giving up, a bunch of your top 5 prospects, which the Mets have coveted and held on to, as you've seen over the last year. So starting pitchers tough to get, and they're very expensive.
They are, and Stearns has had this philosophy of not, giving up, several year contract to older pitchers, which I understand. I mean, it's such a fragile position. I mean, these guys, you hear Tommy John all the time, more than when Tommy John used to pitch.
Yeah.
So it's I understand.
It's part of the contract. It's part of your contract. Tommy John.
But you need an ace or two that you can lean on. I mean, you look at the Yankees; they'll have Cole back, they'll have Fried, even though they gave a long-term 8-year contract to a guy who was
looks good so far.
Yeah, but isn't McLean an ace? Isn't McLean an ace?
He is. But
he's an ace,
and
he's pennies, and we're getting them for pennies.
I think you need someone to teach him.
For now, he's under team control for like the rest of his life.
And give him a raise like they did with DeGrom. Give him a raise, but it's still pennies. They'll be paying him like, you give them $10 million a year.
Yeah,
he'll be jumping for joy.
Skeens. Yeah,
I don't think they're going to give him $10 million a year yet. They don't have to.
They don't have to. Yeah, we give him a little raise so when it doesn't sour when it does come up to up to that time. Now I think the whole thing with the pitching. I think the pitching, yes, because especially if we're going after 32-year-old guys in the trade market. Yes, they're a win now team. They're gonna need to get another top end starter, but. I mean, the pitching is not in that bad of a shape. If these guys, yes, at the end of the year that they came up first time. If Sproat and Tong can be half of what they really are expected to be, you got a decent top 3 starters there.
You do, but are they going to be what they're expected to be? I don't know. I mean,
they seem to have a lot of mediocrity.
So I'm not sure. I mean, they look like good prospects, but will they pan out? I mean, of course, you'd love the guy Skubal from Detroit, but he's got 1 year left. You're giving up half the farm, and also that he's going to be a free agent after this coming year. So there's no guarantee. I mean, I think Steve Cohen would pay a lot of money for him. He's got a lot of money, but there's no guarantees there. So they could. It's really hard to, as you say, it's really hard to get these top end, starting pitchers. So, and it is better if you can develop your own guy, and then fill them in with these high ticket guys as you need them. But you don't know. I don't even know if those Sproat and Tong are going to start out at Syracuse next year.
Yeah,
and depends on spring training. Really.
Yeah, and
David Stearns thinks he's a genius, able to turn mediocre pitchers into these aces. And if he continues to think that without
he's on thin ice. He's on thin ice with all of us now.
Let me tell you, you can't go into the postseason. Once we saw the pitching matchups that we saw in this year's World Series, the Mets were never competing with them.
No, we were screaming our heads off at the beginning of last year. You're not going to do it with this pitching staff again. And he's the smartest guy in the room. Didn't listen to us. He was right. Right. And then they started out great, and then they did just right off the cliff. And we're pitching 3 innings a night. And we're like, everybody knew that the arms weren't going to be there. Why are you giving Minaya all this money? Like, what are you doing?
Don't forget, we just need a couple setup men and a closer too, just to round it off.
Hopefully, Minaya will, not miss half the season. Hopefully, his arm will feel better and he can bounce back because he was pretty good two years ago. But I mean, I 100% agree with you. I mean, when at the beginning of last season, like everybody but they could see that
Clay
they're a little
Holmes, he's not
short
going to
in
make it. Clay
vision.
Holmes not going to make it. We all knew that. You know,
I feel
Not
like it
gonna
worked
make
out
We're
okay.
screaming it.
I think it's the closest he came to being right last year.
Yeah, but he was
he was
3
good for
innings
5
at the end of the
innings.
game. Yeah, you're
good
like,
for
what are you
5
doing?
innings.
No,
So-
yeah, nothing.
And as far as the fans go, like, okay, yes, like what you said with Pete, like, oh, I love the fans want Pete back. And listen, I've gone through so many losing seasons with the Mets. Yeah, I wanted to win a World Series with Pete. I want to see Pete at 500 home runs with the Mets. I wanted to see Nimmo. But you know what? If they win a championship without him, you're not going to hear me be like, oh, I wish Pete was here at the parade. You know, I'm not going to say that. I want a championship. I'm done with losing. I'm sick of it. So I want a sustained thing. And and I think Pete is part of that, has to come back. But like with Nimmo and everything, like, listen, if we win, we'll forget about these guys real quick.
That's very true. That's very true. I mean, it's basically who's here now, and if you're productive, all right, he was a good Met, and that's the past. So, but I do think that Pete is a very valuable bat to have in the middle of your lineup, and
Yes.
home run and RBI wise, and that would be hard to replace. So
It would be impossible to replace.
Very much so.
Not Vientos, right? Not Vientos, no platoon with Vientos and McNeil. That's not going to happen.
I think I'd be very surprised if McNeil is not dealt somewhere else. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's happening.
Vientos, I haven't quite given up yet.
Yeah, I haven't either.
He was
He's-
very productive 2 years ago. He's productive in the playoffs. Down year last year, his glove is not the best, but I think that Beatty could be pretty decent at third as he develops. I think.
I'm not a
I think
Beatty guy either.
consistency. I think consistency might help these young guys. You need to give them their position, let them know where they're going to be in the lineup every day. They flip-flop that lineup, and I know it's going to happen. It's part of baseball today. Like, it's not going to be every day that you run out there. But Beatty had no idea where he was playing, who he was playing, or who was. If you asked me who the third baseman was last year or the second baseman, I still couldn't tell you right now, and I watched every game. So, I think a little consistency will go a long way for these guys who aren't young anymore. The Beattys and the Vientos are no longer your rookies.
Correct. I mean, it's time to take another step for both of them, really.
So now, so that's the Mets. Now on to the local high school football. Sayville. We're both Sayville graduates, class of '99. They did win that year. They lost Brett. Did they lose? They lost the Long Island Championship that year.
Yeah, I think we lost the Long Island Championship that year.
And like I was telling you in the emails, that we're now, I feel old because the star receiver Neugebauer, we graduated with his parents. So
Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, no way is he old. And I think look back at the numbers, I was like, yep, right on track.
Yeah,
That's about how old you'd be.
So Sayville's 11-0. They got their edition of the Manning family at quarterback. The next guy up, the Eli of the family, I guess, at quarterback.
Yeah.
And he's played well. He's going to Lehigh. They got their old coach back. I was saying to Brett, it's kind of like a Joe Gibbs situation, right? He left for a couple of years, came back. Now here he is trying to win another title. They're undefeated. Tell us a little bit about Wantagh. What's to expect with going into this third Friday's game?
Well, Wantagh will come in at 8-3. There was a time during the season, and they had 2 losses in a row. One was, really bothered them. They would lost to Clark, and then they lost to Southside. So they're 3-2. So then I covered their game against Bethpage, and I think Bethpage at that time had a chance to go to 6-0 for the first time since 2011, and Wantagh kind of blew them out. And the coach said to me after the game, we picked a bad day to have a bad day, but it was a good day for Wantagh to get get back on track, and that's what they did. So they went from 3-2 to 8-3. I was there for the rematch on Saturday at Hofstra when they played for the county championship, and Wantagh falls behind 14-0. Like right off early second quarter, and then they rally, and you could just in the whole stadium you could feel the momentum just spinning there, and they go from down 14 points to up 14 points to 28-14. They have a very good running back. Again, as you talked about the Mannings and the coaches.
Yeah.
They have the Martinis in Wantagh. So the latest one is a sophomore. His name is Luke. He rushed for 140 yards against Bethpage. He's got about 1,900 yards rushing. He's kind of shifty, and he's a very good player. And he's also a good defensive player. He had a clinching interception playing linebacker in this last game in the county championship game. So I think if
Are they a grounded pound? Are they grounded pound, or is he just break 1,900 yards in 11 games a lot? Does he break off big chunks? Is he like a big chunk?
Because we kind of expect. We grew up and it's like it's all running. Like is it all going to be running, or do we get a lot of?
No.
Or is there any offensive passing going on in these games?
There is passing. There is passing ability. In fact, I talked to the coach after the game, Keith Sachs. And he said, if we didn't have these two good running backs, but they have Martini, they have another guy, Joe Nicholson, who's approaching 1,000 yards, that this would be, Carter Loftman would be, he's the quarterback, and they, have more of a passing offense if they didn't have these two good quarterbacks. But, Loftman can move. He did score on a 9-yard scramble in the county final, and he can throw. I think he's a pretty good player. So I don't think that they'll lean on the running game, but they're not one dimensional.
I think that's the best part is when you have a running game like that. It opens up the passing game. So
but you're playing Sayville you're playing Sayville who runs 5 wides, pro style, shotgun every play. You're gonna have to keep the ball away from them.
They don't give up too many points. So and they score a lot. So you're gonna have to put up points versus them. So when you get behind, you may need to start throwing the ball. So what is that?
That's where they'll get in trouble. That's where they'll get in trouble.
Well, I think that they would rather run the ball than pass the ball, but I think they have that option that they can throw if they have to. But he's not Patrick as a quarterback. So I saw Patrick play the one time I saw Sayville last season in the playoffs against West Hampton, and he's a very impressive guy. So I would give the edge in the passing game to Sayville there. I probably would. If I had to, I would probably favor Sayville by a little, but I wouldn't count Wantagh out because they've proven that they're a really good team and they're a really good program. So and they won this game. They won when they were in a different conference last year, Long Island Championship. So
Sayville lost.
How much does coaching go into these games? Because, is it all scouting these days? Because it used to be, I'm sure, just this is what we run, this is how we run it. And now, with technology and what they know, it's got to be closer to college or the pros of how they're scouting and how they're evaluating these players.
Yeah, no, they're looking at film, and I talked to a coach about another game that's coming up, and. He said he had looked at all 11 games worth of film of the other team. So they're looking at what's coming in this day and age. So but I think the Sayville coach is very sharp, and he's back for his second stint. So not that the Wantagh coach isn't, but Sayville's has a proven track record and. So I think it'll be an interesting game. I'm not I covered Massapequa versus Oceanside in the Nassau Conference 1 final the other day. Is 55-18. I'd be very surprised if it was that type of game.
So look competitive, good.
Yeah, I think it could get like that though. I think it could. I think if Sayville is clicking and you got because it's basically it's like I was saying to him It's Cohen to Neugebauer seems to be the connection, right? He gets open. You got a good quarterback that can make the throws, and if they get a quick 14-0 lead or something, and they turn them over, and Wantagh is forced now to really have to put the ball in the air, which is not their strong suit. I think it could get out of hand. It could get ugly. It could be maybe not 55-18, but it could be a little bit lopsided.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's hard to predict, but I think that receiver is kind of a good story in that he was mostly a DB last year, and he kind of, I know the coach has talked about over the summer how he kind of developed as a leader, and he's been a big factor. I mean, he had like 7 catches and a few touchdowns in the Suffolk County final and over 100 yards receiving. So. Be interesting to see what he does against that.
His father was a star basketball player,
which doesn't say much for Sayville. In Sayville, it's not saying much.
No, but he went on to go play at Tufts. So the guy, he had a little bit of a college career behind him too. And when you're receiver, man, you get those hands, you got the height, and that's the little something's working for him now. So it's nice. You just need a quarterback to throw it to you. That's what Sayville's been lacking our whole lives.
Yeah, but now they see like Sayville, like
now we have a series of them.
But they also
now they're coming out of the woodwork.
They also have like they groom these kids now from like 5 years old. Well, me and Brett played on the South Bay Lions. That was the Pee Wee football team, and it had nothing to do with the school. Now you go watch them at like Broadway Field or whatever. They got Sayville uniforms on at 5 years old. So that means it's kind of like it's a pipeline they put them through.
Camps, full year stuff. They really can evaluate and see who it is from a young age, and I'm sure it just it's a much more regimented program than we used to have.
Yeah, and some of these teams that are successful, they have the really good feeder programs. Like you look at Garden City, they got very good in youth football, and now they've won 65 games in a row. So,
that's absurd.
They win the championship every year. So yeah, it's very important that they start the kids young, and then they get good coaching at a young age. I was going to tell you a quick story that I saw Sayville in the playoffs last year against West Hampton. I type my story in the press box, and then it's like only an hour gone by, and I find myself I'm locked in the stadium, and outside, locked out of the press box,
Sayville?
locked in the stadium at Sayville, at the junior high school where they
play. By the train station,
the new field.
That's it. But so I'm out in the cold. It's like 30 degrees. And I can't get out. I was going to scale a 10-foot fence with my laptop bag. That I thought better of that after I started.
Yeah.
So I called the police, and I don't know where I am because it's my first time in Sayville. I've covered all over the place, but it was my first time there. So they ping my phone to see me. The police come, and after like an hour or whatever it was, but they were going to cut the lock to get me out of the stadium, and then someone from facilities came and opened the gate. So then I park a few blocks away, and the police said, "All right, we'll drive you to your car." So I get in the back of the police car, and they drive me to my car in another lot, and I'm ready to get out, and I can't get out of the police car because I find there are no door handles in the back seat of the police car because they don't want to get out of the car.
That shows you weren't in many police cars. You're looking for the door handles. You're looking for the door handles. You've been okay the most of the
I don't have a lot of experience in the back of a police car, so I learn something every day. But I guess the moral of the story is, don't do something bad so you don't get arrested. So you're not in the back of the police car because you're not getting out of the back of the police car.
They're like, press, huh? Newsday? Yeah, right, buddy. Yeah, let's go.
I live across the street. Let me know.
Yeah, I was going to say. You could go. Brett could have hopped the fence. Brett hopped the fence.
I listen to the games from my house. I know every time they score a touchdown.
Yeah. Do you think, would you like to see the Long Island compete in the for a state championship? Because it kind of just ends, it's kind of a sudden end here.
I would myself. I would, this Long Island championship is kind of the Super Bowl for these high school teams. I would like to see how they stack up against teams from other areas, just like in other sports. I just covered high school soccer, Final Four and the championship.
There was some great finishes there.
Yeah, and so it was up in Middletown, very nice facility up there. But you're testing yourself against the best of the state to see how you stack up. So
even Sayville baseball just went up. They played in the state championship. They lost. We had our good friend and guy who graduated with the head coach Joe Esposito on the show with us. And it's so nice to see, and how great for the kids to experience that. Like my friends from upstate New York, they won the championship at the Orange Dome at Syracuse. So and that, like, you watch it and you go, they should all be doing that. I mean, why not?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you see like Garden City soccer, they won the state championship up there, and Comac, same thing in boys soccer. and you see how happy they are, and you feel like this is the culmination, like you rule New York State in your particular classification. And, there's nothing wrong with that. I know it's a long season for football. I don't know, I don't know if you have to shorten the regular season by a week or whatever, or if you want to go past into December, you can. But, these other kids, a lot of these, or some of these kids are 3-sport athletes or 2 sports, and they're ready for basketball, they're ready for wrestling.
No, I get it. And
there's
a lot.
Those seasons aren't waiting, they're starting. So,
or how about this? How about have them play, the winner of each division plays the winner of the Long Island Catholic School.
Yeah.
One of those things. Or is that a complete mismatch?
Yeah,
is that a complete mismatch? Is that a Notre Dame Syracuse thing?
I don't know that it would be
good week to bring that up.
I don't think it would be a complete mismatch, actually. But even though they have the advantage of recruiting or taking kids from all over Long Island or even Queens as well. So yeah, I like to see it go beyond Long Island. I think that would be a good thing, really.
Especially when you play the guy from your high school that left to go play in the better team. And
yeah.
That's like what you want, right?
Like the catcher for the Angels from Sayville. We were giving our buddy a hard time because he's the manager. I'm like, Joe, how'd you let this guy get away? He's one of the best catchers in the American League now. And he's from Sayville. You let him get away.
And whenever they announce him now, they say from West Islip. And it drives me nuts. I was like, he lived down the road. No. But he's a good player.
Yeah, he's a hell of a player.
Very, very.
He's a hell of a player.
A lot of talent coming up through Long Island these days. I like it.
That's it.
Yeah, we can stop talking about Boomer finally, right? Boomer's again. My wife went to East Islip. She still talks about Boomer.
Yeah, well, they named the stadium after him, sort of. It's a combination name, really. But
with his coach, right?
Yeah, Coach.
That's good.
Sal Ciampi.
Yeah, that's right. Sal Campy, is it?
It's Ciampi.
Yeah. Now, all right. So Sayville going in, they're 11-0. Are they allowed to move? I see Garden City's not in the division anymore, right? Is that a school choice? Do they move up or down a division? Is that a size?
It's an enrollment. They moved. It's judged on your enrollment size. So like Wantagh was in Nassau Conference 4, and so they moved up to 3. But I think it says something about them that they're in a smaller conference. They win, and the thing about them is that they lost. They had 19 starting positions that they had to fill after last season's championship season. They lost 18 seniors, and they come back and they move up. They move up to a little higher enrollment, and they win the championship again in Nassau. So I think
did Garden City go up or down? Did Garden City go up or down?
Let's see. I think they went up.
Okay.
I think they went up. They're in Conference 2.
Okay.
So
it's not necessarily better. It just means you have a bigger pool of people to pick from, basically.
Well, I think that I think with Garden City, you're just the other coaches would probably be happy when they move out of their conference because you're just not going to beat them. So it's very difficult.
But you'd think they'd move down. Garden City's it's a pricey place to live. A lot of people can't afford Garden City.
But a lot of people can.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how, but yeah, you're right. True. A lot of people can. Talking to 2 civil servants and a news reporter here, right? We're not Garden City people. I'm Queens now. I'm not even Sayville anymore.
All right.
But yeah, hey, listen, it's going to be a good game. You're going to be there. You're going to be there on Thursday, Friday.
On Friday, I'm not scheduled to cover actually, but I will be following on X/Twitter. And trying to I'm interested to some of these when you get to the Long Island Championship round, it's kind of intriguing. Like who's better and who's going to win this? You've done
how do they match
you've
up?
done everything you can in your own county, and now you're again, as we said about matching up with a state, but you're matching up against another county, and it's very interesting to see who's going to come out on top and how they compare, how they match up.
Is Nassau generally better?
Garden City's generally better.
Oh yeah, Garden. Listen. Garden City beat the Jets and the Giants probably. The Giants would blow a fourth quarter lead somewhere along the line to Garden City. But hey, listen, if you want to see some good football, right? Because we got, Lord knows, we don't get much good football around here
all weekend.
Watching Jets and the Giants. Head on out to Hofstra. Is Hofstra still like old school AstroTurf like it was? Because they don't have a football team anymore, right?
Oh yeah, they don't, but they have a lot of games there for high
Yeah,
school. They have lacrosse there. It is a turf field.
Soccer.
It is a nice facility, Sheward Stadium.
Stony Brook's nice too.
Stony Brook is a nice facility too, and there's nothing wrong with these two facilities. I mean, Hofstra doesn't have football anymore, but Stony Brook does, and they are. They had a very good season last year under their new coach, Billy Kosh, but this year they kind of went about 500. But yeah, there are other facilities there to stage kind of a nice stadium type atmosphere.
Yeah. The basketball stadium in Stony Brook is great too. I went there when they won their little conference tournament. When they have that final of those little conferences, there's nothing better than that week before championship week when it's those little schools where it's one bid schools and it's just basically the whole season is irrelevant. It comes down to 4 days in late April, the whole season, and it's a great atmosphere. But yeah, get out there. It's going to be fun. Did Carlos Beltran getting into Mets Hall of Fame? You didn't vote for him, right, this year again?
Well, I haven't done the vote yet.
Okay.
But, I took a look at the Hall of Fame ballot the other day. I haven't researched everybody, but it was depressing because it didn't look like a lot of people for me to vote for this year. Because I don't vote for the Carlos.
What about King Felix?
What's that?
King Felix.
I thought about him hard last year, and I said no. Cole Hamels is on the ballot.
Cole Hamels.
He has the exact same stats as Felix.
Does he really?
Really, pretty much.
I was going to say he's probably the only one who's got a shot at first ballot, right?
No,
he's not getting in first. He's not getting in.
No, only one who's got a shot. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think King Felix. Yeah, I don't know if he did it long enough. That's basically what it is. He was a great dominant pitcher, but I don't know if he did it long enough. Ooh, did we lose him here?
Maybe. Lost you
there for a second. Brett had to run to work, but I'll wrap it up with you real quick. But what I was saying was King Felix. I don't know if he's done it long enough. I don't know if he did it just long enough, but he was dominant.
Yeah. I agree. That's why, and he really fell off with injuries and other things. And he wasn't in the best shape probably in the last half of his career. Again, Cole Hamels had similar stats. Beltran has the, he's got one of the biggest scandals in baseball history behind him. And we are told, on our instructions, judge also character, integrity, and sportsmanship. And I think, you can hold that against him 1 year, but I think it's still the same. He's still
it's your vote. It's your vote, right? It's your vote.
Yeah.
Is he a Hall of Fame or not? There's really no criteria. It's like, is he a Hall of Fame or not? He'll get in without. He'll get it in.
I do think that he will get in. I do think because I don't think that people take in that little character clause. And he was a good guy for most of his career, I think, but that wasn't a good thing. I thought he was a borderline, Hall of Famer. He was great in the postseason, except when he left the Mets hanging with the bat on his shoulder.
Yeah,
but that was a tough
you
curve.
can't judge him on one curveball, But no, I agree.
He was, but before he got to the Mets, he had ridiculous postseasons. He was very good.
Even with the Royals, he was good.
So I think it's going to be a struggle for me to vote for anyone this year. Between the steroid guys who I don't vote for and the scandal guys and just the very good guys who are not quite there.
Yeah.
So I'll look at it next month. I look at it in December when
you start contemplating Shin Shu Chu, it's not a great ballot, a great year.
Yeah, no, this year's tough. But I look at the next 3 years, and I think there's people. I'll have people to vote for.
Yeah, and hey, listen. One of the things I love about Baseball Hall of Fame is, and I'm usually a tough grader, is that if there's nobody good enough to get in, nobody gets in. It's not like the NFL forces people into their museum. It's got to be this amount every year because we got the Hall of Fame game and it's on TV and this and that. Baseball, if there's nobody good enough that you don't think is good enough, then nobody gets in. That's how it should be.
But I do think that I'd be surprised if no one gets in this year because I don't know that everyone's as hard a marker as I am. With Beltran, I think Andrew Jones is getting closer.
I think Andrew Jones is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I didn't, just because it's bothered. Maybe I'm old school, but it bothered me. 254 lifetime batting average and lousy second half of his career.
Yeah.
Yeah, that bugged me. But for the first part, I mean, he ran down fly balls. Is
Oh, he was great.
better than anyone in center.
And he had some big hits in the
good
World
batting.
Series and stuff.
Yeah, he did.
Remember the game in 96, right? He had 2 home runs in one of those first 2 games they won at Yankee Stadium. As like a 19-year-old.
Yeah, I just couldn't get past the 254 with. It's just me.
He's not great offensive numbers. He was, for me, I think he was just that good in center field that the 254. Yeah, okay, it's not there, it's not the numbers, but he tracked, like you said, he was a vacuum out there. Almost like Jimmy Edmonds is one of those catches. That catch that Jimmy Edmonds made still is the greatest thing I've seen. Where he's running straight back and he does the full out, almost like a football diving catch. The greatest catch I've ever seen.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I mean, but it's. I try to tell myself, it's not the Hall of Fame of the very good, but they don't have to be. Everyone doesn't have to be Willie Mays or Hank Aaron either, or Tom Seaver. It's somewhere in between, but. I haven't. This ballot is really it's a tough one this year for me, I think. But I'll look it over next month.
Yeah, and I like I said, I respect that. Like even if I disagree with you, that's part of it because you put in the time to become a baseball writer, and you have a vote. And like you said, we can sit here and argue it, and we're both right. We're both right. You're right. Because Beltran was involved in the biggest scandal, and he was a great player, and I think he does have the numbers. So we can go back and forth forever. That's what makes it great, and that's what makes baseball great. And as long as you're not a Blue Jays fan, I guess this last month, baseball's still grabbing. I can't even imagine. It makes me feel better as a Mets fan, but I can't even imagine. That was out of control. That was just out of control. I don't think Nimmo would have caught that ball out in left center either.
Well, not at this point in his career, probably.
Yeah. It was crazy. One of the craziest things I read, and I did like a whole segment on it, was when they do, how they do like the win probability, and we've all seen it. It goes up and down. They did championship probability, and in that game there were 9 plays that the championship probability shifted 15% one side to the other. 9 of like the top 12, 3 of the top 12 most impactful plays in baseball history were in that game. And you're just like, when you start thinking about that, you're like, oh my, that's just out of control. It was just out of control. It was a great watch. And someone had to lose. That's it.
Yeah. And Yamamoto coming back on no days rest.
No days rest. You're right. Pitching. And then in the 18-inning game, the guy who was sitting on his couch a week before coming in and throwing 4, who never pitched more than 2 innings, coming in and throwing 4 innings of just brilliant, getting out of trouble. I mean, it had every. I hate the Dodgers. Yeah, you hate the Dodgers because if you're not a Dodgers fan, you can't root for the Dodgers. That's just the way it is. They're the Yankees like that. So, but hey, they won. And I didn't like the guy that came out and said the better team did not win this World Series because you know what? That's sour grapes to me. The better team won, right? If the Toronto was a better team, then we got a couple hits in the last couple of weeks. But
yeah,
give them credit
through when they had to come through. So
give them credit.
So credit to the Dodgers.
Absolutely. All right, Brian Heyman is his name. Newsday. You can read him in Newsday. You can catch him. Where can they find you? Give us your Twitter handle, something like that, where people can find you.
Sure, it's B Heyman 99. That's where you can find me on X/Twitter or whatever we want to call it, and you can find me at newsday.com/sports, and I'm in there a lot. So. Yeah,
he's all over the place. He's a good follow. Listen to him, watch him, read him. Brian, thanks for giving us a couple of minutes here, and we'll have you on the baseball season. We'll argue some more baseball.
Okay, I look forward to that. Thanks
awesome. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. How about that? Thank you. Brian Heyman from Newsday. Don't forget, catch him on Twitter. Excellent read. Read his articles at Newsday. If you don't subscribe to Newsday because they do have a subscription. They have a paywall, so make sure it's only like 50 cents an issue when you subscribe. So make sure you get that subscription. Read Brian Heyman. Sayville game on Friday, day after Thanksgiving. It's going to be. Listen, I think Sayville's better than this team, this Wantagh team. Wantagh is coming in with 3 losses. Sayville's undefeated. They kind of got unfinished business from last year. I got Sayville 35-13 is going to be my score. What's your score? Drop it in the comments. Let us know what you think. Who's going to win? Is this a team of destiny? Do they win? Do they finally get the championship that they didn't get last year with Coach Haas coming back, like a Joe Gibbs situation? Like we said, the final game for the Cohen, for the Cohen brother and the Cohen. I'm sorry, right? It's the final game for Cohen, a quarterback for Sayville, as he's a senior. Final game for Neugebauer, who is also a senior. Listen, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think Sayville rolls, and I think they win the Long Island Championship. Going away 35-13 is my score. Like I said, leave your score in the comments who you got. That does it for us. Listen, we're going to have much, much more in the upcoming days on the Nimmo trade. Like I said, it's not that serious, people. Like some people on Twitter are like, get rid of, sell the team, get rid of Stearns. It's he's like a 230, 240 hitter. Like it's not the end of the world. They got better. They got better defensively, and I think they got better offensively. But a lot more to do in the offseason. They still got business to take care of with Pete, with Diaz, pitching, whole lot going on. But again, thank you to Brian Heyman of Newsday for coming on, giving us a couple minutes here. Great job, as always. He's been on the show before. He'll be on the show again because he always does such a fantastic job. So Brett's off to work. That does it for us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you next time from the Brian Gunzel Studios. I'm Bob Walters. See ya.